In 1999, the original ZR introduced Canon's first ever camcorder. And in 2007, they gave us this. Hey everybody, it's A-Spec here, and today I'm looking at a Canon camcorder. But not just any Canon camcorder. One of the last Canon miniDV camcorders. I have a few miniDV tapes still lying around from the days when I used to record religiously all of the holidays, 2014 and afterwards, on miniDV tapes. And I'm hoping to keep doing that. Because tapes, when you're not trying to upload them to YouTube or otherwise put them on a computer, are a great format for archiving. Just ask anyone in the 90s who used to put all their data on tapes, because hard drives were so much more expensive. But today, I still think tapes have a place in the modern video recording, for modern video recording. I just love old technology, and I think this miniDV camcorder, one of the last ever made, is sort of a piece of history. So, you might have seen me review this thing back a few weeks ago. It's a JVC GR850U, and it was from 2005. It was one of the first, truly small miniDV camcorders. They called them palmcorders because they were literally the size of the palm of your hand. And Canon had an offering in this realm too, back in 2004 to 2005 with its ZR series. And the continuation of its ZR series, the ZR850, the ZR850, the ZR850, stuff like that, the ZR850, and shout out to my friend Mia Kazitsky, whose family owns a Canon ZR10 from 2001, one of the first Canon ZR camcorders ever made. So taking a look at this, it's basically the same size, if not a little bit smaller than the JVC camcorder. And as you can see inside, you have a play off-camera mode selector, and a quick start button, which I'll get to later, and SDHC card slot. And you have all these connectors on the side for an AV output, which connects to an AV cable, so it's a stereo video cable, if you're wondering. And there's a USB cable, so you can connect to the computer and dump all your still images that you've taken on the SDHC card off. And there's also the ubiquitous FireWire port from the 2000s that pretty much everyone was using back in the 2000s for high-speed data transfer, but it's become sort of phased out now by the introduction of USB. But I guess I have to find a FireWire cable if I have to transfer anything on this camcorder or on a tape to the computer. I have a FireWire cable though, and I have a FireWire card, and I'm building a new PC, so I'm sure I'll be able to use the FireWire card in my new PC to transfer the video from this onto the computer. So I just have a backup in case anything goes wrong with the tape. And on the front, you have Canon's video lens. It's a 35x optical zoom lens with autofocus that can focus from 1 centimeter macro all the way to infinity. And then you have a receiver for the remote control, and then you have a rather low-powered video light, which really isn't much use unless you're recording something less than a few feet away in low light. And then you have a stereo microphone. So, flipping out the LCD panel, you can see it has a 2.5-inch widescreen monitor, 16:9 aspect ratio, because Canon's real selling point with the ZR series, all the way from the original ZR back onto the ZR960, that was the last in the series. So they touted widescreen recording at an affordable price, with the camera using the full width of the CCD to record widescreen video, instead of just stretching it or letterboxing it or squeezing it like most camcorders in the day did. This is true widescreen. So it's not letterboxed, it's true widescreen. So on the top of the camcorder you have a photo button. A notable feature that's missing from my Canon Vixia. And then you have a tiny little knob of a zoom lever. It's kind of weird that it's that small. But it's easy for me to operate. And then you have a mode switch between the program auto exposure and easy auto mode. And then you have a mode switch for tape and SD card recording. So some of the specs on the top. This is 35 times optical zoom, 1,000 times digital zoom, which is nearly unusable. And this has a megapixel CCD, which was kind of a big deal back in the day. So, flipping the power switch, the camera immediately powers up. I think this is kind of the opposite. I kind of had to take some time getting used to this, because usually on my GVC camcorders that I've always used, the camera, to turn the actual camera on, you rotate the switch up. But this is the play. This is the play mode. To turn the actual camera on, you rotate the switch down. There's quite a prominent chime when it actually turns on. It's like, ding! And then it's telling me to set the date and time. When I got this for $100 on eBay, there was no date, time, battery in it. So I guess that's something worth looking into at a later date. But you can see I have it in 4:3 recording mode, non-widescreen, because I always took my tapes. I always recorded my miniDV tapes in non-widescreen recording mode. So I'm trying to keep continuity and keep recording them in 4:3. And an interesting thing I found out about this camcorder before I bought it is, if you turn the image stabilizer on, it actually takes up quite a bit of the pixels on the screen, like on the CCD. So if you have it in widescreen, the menu looks a little bit better, but you turn it widescreen, you see it gives you a lot wider field of view, actually significantly wider field of view, when the image stabilizer is actually off. You turn the image stabilizer on, and not only is it narrowing the field of view, but it's also using up some of the pixels on the CCD. So you have only about 550,000 pixels of resolution when you're in widescreen mode with IS on. If you have IS off, it's like closer to 700,000 pixels. And it's about the same as regular recording with image stabilizer on or off. So it doesn't make a difference in 4:3 mode if you have the image stabilizer on or off. So you have quite a few effects, like you can go program, portrait, sports, night. There's a lot of different modes. I usually keep it in program unless I want extra sensitivity. But this is pretty sensitive the way it is. With auto slow shutter on, it's really sensitive. But the interesting thing about auto slow shutter for this camcorder is it does not disable the image stabilizer like it does for JVC. So that was a selling point for me. It has different image effects: vivid, neutral, soft skin detail. And you can turn the built-in video light, which is again rather low powered, on or off. And you can have things like digital faders, a digital wipe effect, some cool effects that I think you would rather. I'd rather doing them in video editing software, but it's cool that it has these features as standard without using a video editor software. That's cool. Beam. Yeah, Beam is cool. And wave is cool. Fade. How do I turn it off? I forgot. Oh, let me go back here. There's no simple off option for the faders or any of the other effects. You have to go all the way back to D-effect and then turn D-effect off. And there's still image recording. You can choose between normal, fine, and off. And because there's no date-time battery in here, the settings aren't going to be retained. So whenever I turn the camcorder on, it defaults back to widescreen and image stabilizer off. So I have to go through and do all the settings. So you can turn the auto slow shutter on and off. And probably hear the tape just stopped. That is to protect the heads. It will stop the tape after about 5 minutes. I think there's shutter priority mode. There's no aperture priority or full manual exposure mode. There's a fair amount of control with the shutter speeds. Recording mode, audio setup, display setup. So where you can turn the markers on and off with like the grid or level or whatever you want to display here. And you can turn the wireless remote on and off. So the wireless remote, you have features, and I'll show you afterwards. And the electronic viewfinder does not pull out, so you can't turn it off directly. You have to flip the switch or hit the quick start button. So the quick start button is another feature I want to demo. Push this button, and the camcorder immediately turns off. Hit the button again, and it automatically powers on. Automatically powers back on. So you can immediately start recording, and that's nice, because you don't have to wait for the camcorder to complete its preparations for starting up like it normally would have to do. Now it's off. Now it's on. Off. Wait till the head completely spins down, and then hit quick start again. It still consumes some power when it's ready and waiting in quick start mode, but it's apparently only half the power used while in record standby mode, just waiting to start recording. And it's a whole lot quicker to respond than turning the camcorder completely off, because there are a couple of seconds of wait time. Here we go. On. And it takes a couple of seconds to pop the image up and get you ready to start recording. The wireless remote, you can see, you can zoom in and out, you can start stop, you can take a still photo. You can move the memory card images back and forth. So if you have it in the card mode and you're playing it back on TV, you can rewind and fast forward. You can search, date search. So you can search by date. So that's cool if you want to see scenes like from Christmas. You can tab forward to the desired date and then hit play. And there's your typical playhead controls, rewind, play, fast forward, and there's also slow motion and 2x speed playback. And you can perform audio dubbing, where if there's a lot of wind noise or background noise like subway or train or something, you can or aircraft noise, you can eliminate the audio from the original recording and then dub over it with your own narration afterwards. And you can set the time code to 0. So if you're timing something like a 0 to 60 run, for example, you could push 0 set memory and the time code would start counting from 0. And then once you reach 60, you can hit the button again. Once you reach 60 in the playback, and then button again, and it'll display the actual time code. And TV screen is to prevent the displays like date, time, and time code, and the recording mode and the amount of remaining tape from displaying on the TV screen. I'm holding this kind of weird, but I just want to demonstrate the image stabilizer and zoom in pretty far. I can see the image is fairly stable. It's not quite as good as optical image stabilization, but for electronic image stabilization it's good. It doesn't always focus really close when it's zoomed in, but you can see how well it is working. The megapixel sensor actually gives it nice video quality. It's really good for standard definition video quality. I know I said the same thing in my JVC GRD270U review, but this really blows it away as far as video quality goes. We've got that megapixel sensor and Canon's optical expertise, and Canon's image stabilizer expertise. I've been doing it since '97, so I guess they have that going for it. I note on this awkward, like half-moon-shaped recording button, in my video about in my recording test, I noticed that it was a little bit too easy to hit the recording button with your nose and stop recording. I just noticed that when I was testing this yesterday. And I mentioned in my JVC GRD270 review that when I purchased a Canon ZR camcorder, I will name it Zara. And of course I did to this one. So, that concludes my review of the Canon ZR850, codename Zara. If you have any questions about Zara, or anything else you'd like me to review, just leave them in the comments. And this is A-Spec and Zara signing out.